All right, sweet. Let her rip. All right, how's it going, DevOps Days Rockies? All right, this is Drawing Insights, Software Development Lessons from XKCD. So who here's ever heard of XKCD before? All right, I like it. I am in the right spot. So let's do a quick anatomy of my slides. We've up at the top got an insightful comment that will remind me what I'm talking about, the really awesome license that lets me do this in the first place, the ever-important comic that we really care about, and my contact info if you're interested in talking to me after this. So the main thing that we want to take away from this is to pay attention to the fine print. This is one of the most critical things that we can do in our job, whether it's going and dealing with licenses like for this or open source software, our code contracts, or even our employment contracts. It's really important that we pay attention to the fine print. Also inherent in all this, comics are really educational. So sing it with me, y'all. When a grid's misaligned with another behind, that's amore. Thank you. Who will never forget that now? Yeah, it's great. Unfortunately, teaching how to make good code from a comic is actually something that remains elusive, but it's cool because we work in a socio-technical system, and there's a lot that you can learn on that socio side from this. This is how Randall Monroe dealt with his emotions when his wife got cancer. It was a rocky road, it's a rough thing, and while it doesn't have to necessarily be you or a loved one going through a health crisis, there are these moments where it's just really hard to deal with it. And it could be that you are the only person to have had this problem on the internet since 2003. It's just incredibly depressing and lonely to be in that spot. And what we want to do when we get into this place is we want to just share with other people our experiences and just let them know, hey, I was here. You know, go and write a blog post, talk at a local conference or something, but just in some way share your experiences and pass on what you've learned to other people. And this whole passing on of knowledge is really critical. I don't know about y'all, but I so quickly forget that just 10 minutes ago I didn't know what the obvious solution was now, and it wasn't that obvious a few minutes ago. We need to celebrate when people go and learn things, even when it's ourselves. Because if we actually go and make an effort to celebrate learning and also sharing your experiences, I think we can do a lot as an industry to deal with just how much imposter syndrome we have and make it better. Who here has ever experienced imposter syndrome? Take a look around. The reality is, what we're doing is not about getting more nerd cred. There is always going to be someone who knows another VI shortcut that you don't, or some other new framework. That's not actually why we're here. It's not what we're trying to do. It might be fun, and there might be bright, shiny objects, but we're actually here to solve business problems. These aren't nearly as fun. They are not the bright, shiny objects, but they're why we actually can, command the salaries that we do. We need to go and make sure to go and work with the business and figure out how to deliver what they need. The main thing is we want to be a profit center, not a cost center. And that's not always as fun, it's not as exciting, but we need to focus on what those business problems are. All right, and we also got to get prepared for things to change, but also stay the same. This comic came out 10 years ago practically, and it's insane how easy it is for our phones to just take for granted and identify what a bird is. But that was insane 10 years ago. Now, that has changed rapidly over these past years, but there's a lot of things that have stayed the same. The core insight of the Mythical Man Month is still there. You are not going to be able to read that book in half the time by having 2 copies. All right, those people laughing actually read that book. Now, one of these things that has changed for me over the years is this comic. You all know Little Bobby Tables. This is the first XKCD comic I ever saw, and I felt so cool because I had just learned SQL. I knew what SQL injection was. It's like, yeah, I get the joke. But over the years, I've realized the devs aren't in this comic at all, and that's a problem. There is no completion of the feedback loop. There is just a mother torturing a poor school administrator. And that's not that great. So we need to make sure that we go and close these feedback loops. We need to make sure that we have empathy for our users and our teammates and ourselves and figure out ways to go and close all that up. Now, it might sound like I'm laying a lot of heavy things that we need to go and do to be decent software engineers, but I want to leave you with this idea that we get to decide what it means to be a software engineer today. As I look out at this audience today, this is not the group of people that I would have seen at a DevOps Days 5 or 10 years ago. And I think that is absolutely wonderful. I am so glad to see us all making these changes. And I want to leave you with these 3 thoughts of wisdom. No matter the circumstances, you can always improve. You can always start improving with yourself, and you can always start improving today. And that's from Kent Beck's Extreme Programming Explained. It's an oldie but a goodie, still worth reading. So thank you all. I'll see you all around the conference.